It's an immense honor to step in today into Nick's, our president's, shoes and open the meeting. It's a pleasure to preside this important meeting, the essence of public speaking in a global society, the quiddity of public speaking in a global world. I welcome you all. And I would like to introduce you to our Toastmaster of the evening, all the way from Dublin, Ireland, the green Emerald Island, where it rains and rains and rains, but now it is sunny. Pat Caslin, our Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Vincent, our presiding officer. It's wonderful to be with you in my first appearance as Toastmaster at this wonderful club, Digital Communicators. The theme for this evening, if you've seen it, is just two words: yes and. The background to this goes like this. So much of our communication is done so much of our listening is done for the purposes of responding or in judgment or to actually get our word in. And an awful lot of our communication starts with no but. Somebody says something and we say no but. And it's very demoralizing for the speaker to hear a no but. So if we just think about this and say yes and, it's really motivational, because it says to the speaker, I have heard you, and now I'm going to add to what you've said. So that's our theme this evening. And I think it goes very well to the essence of what Toastmasters is about, because Toastmasters is about listening carefully and taking the best out of what the speaker says. So let's see if we can say yes and rather than no but as our theme for this evening. So to start us off, I'm going to ask our live reporter, Mar Cano, if she would like to explain what this role is, please. Mar.
Thank you very much, dear fellow Toastmasters. And Pat Caslin, you're very, very right. Yes and is a powerful word and expression that I would like you all to use tonight, and I will be reporting that. But first, let me introduce a little bit about what this role is about. So as a live reporter tonight, I'm in service of the meeting, and it means that I'll be covering the session in 3 different ways on social media. First, I'll be covering live on Twitter, tweeting memorable comments about our Toastmasters event. And I'll be using these 3 hashtags here, hashtag DCOMLive, hashtag DCOMTMS, or hashtag Toastmasters. And Digital Communicators is inviting you tonight to like, even to retweet those tweets that bring or may bring value to our community. Second, I'll be sharing a video analysis of today's session on YouTube as soon as possible after the meeting. And third, I'll be also sharing a deeper analysis on a LinkedIn post, which you'll be able to read when it's posted in the forthcoming hours. So stay tuned. That's all from me for now. Let's continue with the show, and remember to engage with us in multiple ways, especially using a yes and mindset. So thank you very much, Pat Caslin, my fellow dear Toastmaster of the night or the day, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Mar, for that wonderful explanation of the role. Next, I'm going to ask our timer, Hazel, our wonderful timer, coordinated timer, Hazel, to explain her role, please. You're on mute, Hazel.
I thought I'd unmuted myself. Thank you. As your timer today, there's a saying, time waits for no one. So I'll be keeping track of the time. So please be on time, because if you're late, it's gone, you're off. Okay, I will change the backgrounds as for the speakers at 5 minutes, you will get the green background. At 6 minutes, the yellow, and at 7 minutes, the red. Of course, for the table topics, the icebreaker, it's 1 minute earlier. For the table topic speakers, I will use a different background. I will use the green one, this one for the green one, which is at 1 minute. And then I will use this one for 1 minute 30. And at 2 minutes, I will use this one. So let's be on time today. And that's all from me. Back to Vincent.
Thank you, Hazel, for that wonderfully...
Not Vincent, Pat. Sorry.
Even. Our next the official is Ishrat, who is our grammarian for this evening, with a very interesting word.
Yes, and I am thrilled to be a grammarian tonight. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the evening, or Toastmaster of the day, Pat. The role of grammarian is multifold. First and foremost, I get to share the word of the day, which is quiddity. Q-U-I-D-D-I-T-Y. Not liquidity, nor nudity. Well, if you've never come across the word before, quiddity is a noun and refers to the inherent nature or essence of someone or something. If you're looking for another word, a synonym of the word quiddity, it's also quintessence. And the adjective being quintessential, I think this is a word with which you're more or less familiar. Now, quiddity can also mean a trifling point, quibble, or unusual personal opinion or habit, eccentricity. To use the word quiddity in a sentence, for instance, you can say that the very quiddity of digital communicators is to give its members a platform to develop their digital skills. Now, other than sharing the word of the day, I will also pay close attention to and highlight outstanding usage of the English language, as well as wrongful use or pronunciation of words. I urge you to use the word of the day, quiddity, tonight in the session. Best of luck. Over to you, Pat.
Thank you, Ishrat, for that wonderful introduction. And here am I thinking that as a native English speaker, I have a fantastic command of the language, and I've just been usurped by somebody who has an even better command. So I'm very impressed with this word, and I'm trying to think about how I can use it. But there you are. I shall do that. Before we get on to our speakers, I have to correct something that I'm remiss, which is to welcome our guests, who I think are Antonio, Svetlana, Panos, Mikey, and Karina. You're very, very welcome. And I'm particularly pleased to thank Panos for signing up at the last moment to do Mathes's evaluation. So thank you, guys. Now, our first speaker this evening is Vincent Neri. And to introduce Vincent, we are going to have Andrew, I think. Is that right, Andrew?
Indeed it is. Thank you, Toastmaster Pat. So what is the quiddity of Toastmaster Vincent? Well, Toastmaster Vincent is already a golden communicator, this evening, he's starting a brand new pathway. It's the innovative planning pathway, and he will therefore bring us an icebreaker speech, a first speech in that pathway. We will be looking out for his speech structure specifically, and that he tells us something about himself. His speech is entitled Immersing into a New Culture, and let's go immerse into a new culture with Toastmaster Vincent. Thank you, Pat.
It was the winter of 1978. Just after Christmas, I arrived in London, which was meant to be a type of working vacation. It was snowing. There was a rubbish collector strike. So there was tons of garbage, tons of rubbish all over London, and it was freezing cold. I felt very lonely. I had celebrated Christmas still with my family in Germany, and then had traveled to London to start a new life. I had a job offer at Foyle's bookshop in Charing Cross Road, and that was indeed a challenging affair, but it was a new country. My English language was very poor. I could hardly make myself understood. And there was a completely new world, a very large city, which I had really trouble to get close to. So there I arrived just after Christmas and went out to find a bedsit, which I found in a place called Clapham Common. And it was depressing. It was all dirty. I had to share a bathroom, which I'd never done before, which people had never known. It was dirty. The bathroom was full of wallpaper, horrible, stinking. It was really absolutely horrible. And there I was, silently crying, silently screaming for help. Then, in the beginning of January, I went to my new job, and there my life changed. There were tea ladies who were pushing little carts, offering tea with milk to the people working in both Foyle's offices. I'd never drinking tea with milk. Well, come on. If they can drink it, I can drink it. So I somehow settled into this comfortable misery. I commuted from Clapham Common to the centre of London. I started to immerse in culture. I started reading books in English. I read Graham Greene, Hemingway, Steinbeck. I went to the theatre. There was the West End, full of cultural opportunities. And every day, my English improved. I suddenly was able to communicate. I was being understood. I could understand why Leicester Square is spelled differently. I got friends. I went to the pub. I became almost a part of the British society. It was such an enormous step forward for me from being a young man from a foreign country to arrive in this massive, huge city where I, at the beginning, was completely lost. And then buying your London A to Z, you could actually travel around, find your way. And there are no straight roads in London either. This is all going round and round and round and round. There's a thing which is called the North Circular Road, which is neither circular, nor does it actually is one road. It is just a combination of different roads, which they call the North Circular Road. Consequently, it was wonderful to be suddenly part of this vibrant city, of a culture which I was nibbling on day after day. It was absolutely outstanding. really, and it was a stepping stone for me to be where I am today at Digital Communicators in our club, because this is, again, an immersion into a new culture. I'm having this enormous pleasure to be rubbing shoulders with very experienced speakers. I have this ordinary opportunity to learn new language skills, to the power of language, to use language to its utmost potential. And that is really the quiddity of my life. The quiddity of my life is to learn and to learn more. And therefore, I'm immensely happy and proud to be a member of Digital Communicators. And I am so happy to be able to contribute to you all the little knowledge I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. Before we get to our next speaker, the quiddity of Toastmasters is evaluations and feedback, and it's very important that we give this. So I wonder, would everybody please take a minute, if you might give me a minute, please, Hazel, and could we all please give Vincent some feedback on his speech in the chat, if you would, please. I think this is the quiddity of Toastmasters. Much appreciated. Our next speaker is Mahfuzur Rahman. And to introduce Mahfuzur, I'm sorry I said Panos, but it's actually Mikey that's going to introduce. Mikey, are you ready to introduce?
I certainly am, Pat. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Mikey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I will be evaluating Mahfuzur this evening. Mahfuzur is studying effective coaching. Coaches comes and goes, but there are one or two who shaped your career and life immensely. Mahfuzur is practicing English as his third language. He is passionate to collaborate and learn from every connection he makes. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Mahfuzur. Thank you.
On Saturday, the sky grew dark. The air was so wet that you could almost drink from it. It has been raining for a couple days. One could remember rain like that for years. Yes, me and my sister sat by the window watching the rain. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow guest, and fellow Toastmasters, and all the sailors out there, what would you do in such restless weather? Mom has forced us to go to bed so we could wake up early in the morning and help Mom with the morning chores. Our house situated in the bank of a river. We enjoyed being close to the river. I had the most beautiful view, and I could almost watch everything happening in the river. Not only we caused to be a better swimmer, our dogs and cats also took part of it. It was an amazing experience. By the time I woke up in the morning, the tide has risen and washed our home away. When I woke up, the only thing I saw, water, water, and it's everywhere. We landed on the roof of the tent and with our dogs and cats. And mom just told me, here is the bed sheet. Can you tie up your younger siblings? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, have you had a course in the moment to set the agenda? I'll be taking you through only one point that has helped me immensely and empowered me. I want you to practice active listening in your everyday conversation. That has been the quality of my life, and the learning has been so far. We seek help from our coaches through our single task whenever we need to get help on something. It's a short endeavor. Effective coaching can be practiced over and over, and you can master of it. I'm humbled, and I'm so fortunate to have many coaches in my career from early days till now. My coaches helped me immensely overcoming the skill gaps that I had. What is the most conversation tool that you use every day? For many folks, the conversation is so crucial. Well, aside from all those AI-enabled Google, Siri, Alexa, we have mastered communication from the early days, but there's only few that's barely sell it to home. Many coaches helped me directly or indirectly. From the finest, John Wooden, to Abraham Maslow, to Mike. In my early career, when I started as a co-office student, Mike helped me managing my conversation better, even it is the horrible one. Mike taught me to be little better with all the communication is persuasive. And every communication starts with a statement and end with a question. What is the equity of the management? Do you know why management is so difficult for some folks? It feels like the world is dire need of active listeners. You can kill harmony interrupting a conversation, even if it is that you are delivering God's message. And it's everywhere. I wanted to respond with this sentence. Thank you. Yes. I never thought of your point. This shows that you are actively listening and you're not judgmental. Ask yourself, how can you utilize active listening to be an impactful communicator? How will you help your unhappy internal or external customer, or even bringing harmony in any situation? I am so thankful. I'm blessed to have coaches like my mom, like Mike, and all of you out there, even those one turning off the camera. With your help, I can sell it home. You all empower me, and I am humbled. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Yes, and What a great speech, Mafazur. Thank you very much. Can we take a minute, please, and give Mafazur some feedback? Nice screen that came up for timing. Our third speaker this evening is Pam Rowley, and Ola is going to introduce us to, or Pam speaks to us. Ola?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It is a great honor for me to introduce our third speaker for tonight. She is delivering her TED speech of level 1 in the dynamic leadership pathway. And part of the objective of the speech is for her to improve on the evaluation and feedback provided to her during the last time she delivered the same speech. Her title for the speech is Mistaken Identity. Please join me and welcome on board Pam Rowley. Thank you.
Thank you, Ola. So an icebreaker speech. The idea of an icebreaker speech is to introduce you to the club so other members can get to know you better. But I think a lot of members in this club already know me quite well. To say I'm a bit of an oversharer is an understatement. Most of you know I'm pretty potty about pets. Dogs are my main love. You've heard stories about my kids. I talk about them quite a lot. And some of you might know that I'm prone to sleepwalking. But, Madam, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, do you know I have hypersomnia? Hypersomnia is the opposite of insomnia. I have absolutely no trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep. In fact, waking up is my biggest problem. I am the proverbial sleep on a washing line kind of girl. I once fell asleep at the dentist. He'd laid me back in the chair, was about to start work when his phone went. So he said, "Do you mind if I answer that?" I was like, "Not a problem." He had to wake me up when he got back. If I'm horizontal, I sleep. If it's dark, I sleep. If it's warm, I sleep. In fact, please don't ever be offended if I fall asleep during one of your speeches. I fall asleep that quickly that once when I fainted, my husband Jack thought I'd fallen asleep and just left me there. I'm hated by many for my ability to sleep anytime, any place, anywhere. I can drink coffee 10 minutes before bed, no problem. A daytime nap, that won't stop me sleeping at night. 10 minutes spare, I can fit a power nap in. Sometimes I think I'm asleep before I even get up the stairs. Some consider it a skill, but let me tell you, it does have its disadvantages. I have never seen a film all the way through. I've fallen asleep on a train and missed my stop. I've slept in nightclubs, pubs, bars, restaurants, although I think Prosecco may have given me a helping hand there. I've done an online food shop in my sleep, and I once climbed out the bedroom window, still asleep. The worst one, I nearly missed my own honeymoon through being unable to wake up. In fact, if it hadn't been for our friend and neighbour noticing that our curtains were still closed, I'd probably still be asleep now. Derek, our neighbour, virtually had to kick the door in to wake us up. He phoned for a taxi while we quickly got our stuff together. We made it to the airport with seconds to spare. As we arrived at check-in, they grabbed our bags off us, shoved us on one of those airport buggies and took us through to the departure gate. As we boarded the plane, everybody was strapped in and waiting to go. And then the captain announced that the honeymooners had arrived. Everybody clapped and cheered. It was awful. I've never been so embarrassed in all my life. However, one night, I'm pleased to say, I was alert enough to foil a potential break-in. I woke to the sound of banging. I shot out of bed. I banged my shin on the corner of the bed, so I know I wasn't dreaming or sleepwalking, which I've done in the past. I looked out of the bedroom window and I saw a bloke running at and kicking in next door's back door. Jack, Jack, I'm shouting over my shoulder, trying to wake my equally heavy sleeper of a husband. But I realised he wasn't there. He must have fallen asleep downstairs. So I decided to grab my phone and ring the police. So I'm babbling down the phone, come quick, someone's breaking into my next door neighbours. The call handler assured me that someone was on the way, but asked for a description. Well, I've watched enough TV to know how to give a good description. So I said, he's about 5'11", slim build, dark hair, bit of stubble. He's wearing black jeans and a black hoodie. It was quite easy to describe him because he looked very similar to my husband. I then heard this guy say, hang on, I'll go and get a crowbar. So then I started to panic. He walked round the side of the house and then he strolled up our drive to our garage like he owned the place. Opens our garage door. I'm now at the top of the stairs trying to wake Jack, who's, I'm assuming, is asleep on the sofa downstairs. Jack, Jack, quick, someone's breaking in. And now they're breaking into our house as well. As I heard the garage door open, I thought, I'm going to have to deal with this myself. I'm going to have to take action. So I leant over my son, who was in bed. Fortunately, another heavy sleeper in the family. Leaned out the bedroom window and went, oi, what do you think you're doing? Like some fishwife. The police are on the way. I'd get off if I was you. And this guy stopped. He looked up at the bedroom window and just said, Pam, stop shouting. You're going to wake the kids up. I was like, oh my God, Jack, what are you doing? I've just phoned the... Well, I didn't really get a chance to hear his answer over the sound of the sirens. Plus, I guess it's difficult to talk when you're face down on the ground with two burly policemen sat on your back. I flew down the stairs, flung open the front door and said, I can explain. It was me that phoned you. He lives here. He's my husband. I phoned you. He was helping next door out. Both policemen stopped and looked at me. Jack looked at me and one of the policemen said, maybe madam would like to get dressed first. I flew back up those stairs faster than I'd come down them, absolutely devastated. As I got dressed, brushed my hair and put some makeup on, Jack explained what had happened. Whilst I'd been in my comatose sleep, the neighbours had been knocking on the door and ringing our phones, explaining that they'd locked themselves out and hoping that Jack, as a builder, might be able to get in. Jack allegedly told me what was going on, but obviously I was in a deep sleep and just said, yeah, okay. So I learned 3 valuable lessons that night. Number 1, just pause and think before phoning 999. Number 2, if somebody looks like your husband, there's a pretty good chance that he is. But most importantly, number 3, always wear pajamas to bed. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Yes, and what a fantastic story. Thank you so much, Pamela. I haven't smiled as much in a long time. Can we have, please, Hazel, if you have them, the timings of the speeches, please?
Yes. Vincent is 5:25, 5 minutes 25, Mafusur 6 minutes 11, and Pam 6 minutes 58.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Excellent timings all around. Next, we have table topics, and our topics master this evening is the inimitable quiddity of all things Toastmaster. And I would like to introduce you to my fellow doubler, Colette Ainscough. Unmute, Colette.
Sorry, Pat, do you want people to respond to Pam's speech?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm forgetting myself. If we take a minute, please, to respond to Pam, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Now, I give the floor to our topics master for this evening, Colette Ainscough. Colette.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and very welcome guests. Following from Pat's theme of being positive, I'm hoping that you can also be supportive and reinforce the questions that I answer with a yes. So I'm hoping that you are going to be able to say yes and then give me your answer. So basically I'm going to ask some questions and pick some of you out, but if anyone wants to answer a particular question, please raise your hand. And we will also have some shotgun evaluations. And please pin the timer. Okay, let's start. And so my first question is going to go to our guest, Antonia. Antonia, is there anything that you are excited about in your life today?
Yes, Colette, and not only excited, I'm very happy. I'm very happy to be here with all of you because this is the opportunity to meet with people from all around the world, and also in a magical experience because you are also a new club. I'm also practically new in this club as well, still a guest. And I'm excited about this. And also I'm excited because the good weather is going to start in Berlin as well. And I love when the weather is changing from winter to a more warmer weather. I like it. I feel it that I am very motivated and I am very happy. And what's the quiddity of this? What we learn from that? What we learn is that from the small things, the very little small things, we can be very happy. We don't need so much to be happy. Now, for example, we cannot travel. So why not to travel through Zoom and meet people with fantastic ideas and projects? Why not? And that's why, answering your question, yes, and I'm also happy. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Antonia. Now we'll have a shotgun evaluation. And first up, I'm going to call on our producer, Julian, please, to give us a 1-minute shotgun evaluation.
Answering your question, yes, and
Can you hear that?
Back to you.
Well, we have some reverberation.
Thank you very much, Antonia.
Antonia, I have to congratulate you for a good
And first up, I'm going to
table
call on
topics.
our producer, Julian.
It's quite difficult to do this when you have 3 computers in front of you and have to listen Antonia. Antonia, we'll speak with you later after the meeting. Apologies for this. Well, we have some reverberation.
No problem. Thank you very much, Julian. Now we'll move on to our next question, our next table topic, and I'm going to ask our live reporter, Marcano, would you take on this question, please? And I hope, again, you will start with yes and. Have you something to be grateful for in your life today?
Yes, Colette. I believe I have many things to be grateful for, and I would like to choose one of them for today. I'm grateful to be able to be sitting here in front of the screen with this DCOM, Digital Communicators, great community, to have the opportunity to keep on learning, to keep on growing, to keep on making mistakes, having reverberations. And in the end, the quiddity of our club is to learn and have fun, isn't it? If you are not here to learn, if you are not here to have fun, if you are not here to smile, then this means that you are getting, rid of something that is going on in your home, or who knows. Anyways, so as I said, I'm really, really grateful to be here and to have the opportunity to be connected with our great and fantastic family here every Monday whenever we have these sessions. So thank you very much, and back to you, Table Topics Master Colette.
Thank you, Marcano. And now to give us a shotgun evaluation, I call on Andrew Bennett, please.
Yes, Colette. Delighted to bring an evaluation for Ma this evening. Ma is very grateful to be in front of her computer screen with us this evening. She's specific in her answer to the topics question, and she does it straight away. There's no hesitation. Therefore, I would like her to just develop this idea outwards. And if she can't think of anything else, any other reason why she's glad to be in front of the computer, why doesn't she ask us the question? Toastmasters, are you glad to be in front of your computer at Digital Communicators tonight too? So turn the question out to the audience, play with the audience. She already plays excellently with her camera angles, and she comes right into the screen at certain moments. Well done to Ma for her table talk this evening.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Becoming a member of Digital Communicators has presented me with opportunities of development. Do you feel that with Digital Communicators, opportunity has knocked on your door? And this table topic I am going to give to Vincent.
Yes, and it did knock on my door, and it came through the back door. It came through Manchester Communicators late last year. And there was June, and said, would you like to be the general evaluator of Manchester Communicators? And I went there, and he got me hooked. And then he told me about the project, and I became a member of this outstanding club. And I certainly feel very happy of being part of it, of being in this lifelong learning experience. I think this is just a wonderful opportunity. There should be thousands of others who should envy us for being where we are. And I certainly am very proud, very happy to be able to mingle and mix with so many brilliant minds. People have had an outstanding career as public speakers. They have technical backgrounds. They used all kinds of different programs like Prezi or PowerPoints and things I would not even know. I hardly know how to boil a bottle of water. Therefore, consider that I'm a learner. In Spain, we have a saying, the old man did not want to die because there was always something new to learn. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vincent. I'm going to call on one of our guests now to give us a shotgun evaluation, and that is Panos Korelius from Greece, and he would like to give us a slingshot evaluation. Over to you, Panos.
Thank you, Colette. So I'm preparing my slingshot, I'm putting a few ideas, and I'm firing it all the way to you, Vincent, my friend. Opportunity, yes, and I love the way you opened, because I did not expect a backdoor opening to your speech and table topics. So you made it your own right off the bat. And then you started with the story. Last year, you took on the challenge in the club. Definitely, this is relatable for me as a listener, because we've been there. That's how I started my journey. Now, the gold came in the end, the saying, that's enriching. The old man did not want to die because there was always something to learn. So Vincent, get the gold out. Get the gold out in the store window right off the bat and get us hooked. And then go deeper. When you got the gold, present it. If they say you have it, so flaunt it, or something like that. So when you have sayings like that, this is enriching. So get it out as soon as possible and then dig deeper for it. All in all, I enjoyed listening to it, and I'm looking for more gold now. Back to you, Colette.
Thank you very much, Panos. My next table topic I'd like to offer to Andy, who is one of our guests. Is that okay, Andy?
Yeah.
One of my all-time favourite movies is The Wizard of Oz. Apart from the quiddity of some of the characters, one of the central messages in that movie is there is no place like home. Andy, do you agree with this statement, and why?
Yes, and I would certainly agree with that statement. There's no doubt about it. There is no place like home. In my younger days, I did a lot of traveling. I've been to South America and North America. I've done the old interrailing around Europe, traveling on a train. Although I enjoyed that and I learned a lot from it, and I did meet lots of different cultures and types of people and had a lot of fun along the way. When you come back home, you just realize what you have around you. You have a whole support network, a whole structure there. You've got your family, you've got your old friends, and it really, although I learned so much from it, I was glad to get back in the end, and it really settled me. Any doubts I had about where I wanted to live or anything like that, it sort of settled me for life. And I then started to develop my career and started to raise a family. So it really just was beneficial to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andy. Now for a shotgun evaluation. Can I call on Pamela Benjamin, please?
There's no place like home. I've roamed to North America and South America. What a wonderful way to introduce the topic. There's no place like home. In fact, the movie was in Kansas, and it was about a tornado that came and twisted her up. And she went off on a voyage, on an adventure with a scarecrow and a lion and a tin man. And I thought you did an excellent job, that after all these places you've been in North and South America, that you decided to come back home, which I'm going to guess is the UK by your accent. I'm not sure. So I really, really liked that you used that and you developed that theme. There's no place like home, but I would have liked a story on how home was so much better and it touched your heart more than being in the Americas. That's what I would have liked to hear. I love stories. I'm in Toastmasters because I love to hear what people have done, what they're going to do, and the stories they've made along the way. Thank you.
Now, for our very last topic of the evening, I will call on Mafsur. Would you like to take on the topic, Mafsur?
Sure.
The release date for Facebook was 2004, for Twitter 2006, Instagram 2010. They are some of the very many social media tools. It has been said that your face is your brand, Mafsur. Do you agree with this?
Madam Topic Master, your face is your brand. Yes, absolutely. For many, we live in social media. Tell me, raise your hand if you don't have a social media account. I just want to see how many of you are not on social media. Okay. There are quite a few that's not in social. Well, you are not missing in action. I can tell you. There is nothing you are missing in action. Yes, it is the face. When I hire somebody, yes, I go look in LinkedIn. I go somewhere else to look into what is the public profile. Yes, absolutely. It is because I don't want to bring in a problem child in my team. So absolutely, that's something that I look. It can be a gold mine or it can be a landmine. The social media, yeah, just try to poke finger at one of the celebrities and see how the world react on you. Again, I'm not asking you. However, it can be the face of you, positive way or the negative way. So it can be the landmine or gold mine. Back to you, Madam Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Mafsur. And I will ask Mikey Dash, please, to give us a shotgun evaluation, please, Mikey.
Yes, thank you very much. Mafazor, I thought your speech was very clear. You have a subtle voice to your speech, which is really nice and is really, really charming. I thought with the advice that you gave us about social media was very interesting. I thought that you had a really nice hand gestures. You spoke really well. It was very clear. You was articulate. I think that you could use more vocal variety in that speech. Although I thought that you still did incredibly well. So keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. And back to Pat, the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Colette, for a fantastic topic session. Thank you, everybody, for your wonderful contributions for on-the-spot speaking. Can I ask Hazel, please, to give us the times of the topics, please? Here we go. She put them in the chat, so I'll just give them to you. Antonia, 1 minute 25. Mar, 1 minute 14. Andrew, 45 seconds. Vincent, 134. Panos' evaluation, 111. Andy, 107. Pamela's evaluation, 130. No, we don't have time for that. Mafisur, minute 35. And Mikey, 42 seconds on the evaluation. Good timing. Thank you very much, everybody. Now, our next the role is our general evaluator. So I'm going to hand the gavel, or the virtual gavel, over to Pamela Benjamin. Pamela.
Thank you, Pat. I'm the general evaluator, which means I am going to give an evaluation of the meeting. But before I do that, I have 3 evaluators that are helping me, and they will each individually evaluate each speech. Our first evaluator is Andrew Bennett, and he will be evaluating Vincent Nere. His speech was Immersing into a New Culture. Andrew Bennett.
Toastmasters, London was rubbish. At least it was in 1978 when Vincent arrived, nursing his loneliness with much less English than he has now. He came to a city that was covered in rubbish due to a rubbish strike. He moved into a flat in Clapham, which wasn't the most joyful of areas to live in, and the flat was very dingy. And he would stand at his job in Foyle's bookshop, and I have been there, Toastmasters. I've been in that Foyle's bookshop. And let me tell you, in those days, the books used to be muddled up all over the shelves, and it must have reflected the way he felt muddled up arriving in a brand new city. Fortunately for Vincent, 1978 improved, and so did London. Vincent is a natural raconteur. He's a great storyteller. He has immense warmth, and the strength of this speech was in the use of language. He conjures up images with just a few words, and you could really feel it when he was there silently screaming. I would like to suggest 3 recommendations this evening for Vincent as we work on improving this speech together. The first one is about pacing. I did notice that he settled down into groups of 5 words at a time. Sometimes the pacing was a little too regular in rhythm for me. I would have liked more variation of pitch and certainly more variation of rhythm. It's very tempting when you've got a nice warm voice like Vincent has just to fall into the habit of certain levels of groups of words. Here we had 5 words at a time. So let's look at pacing together. Sometimes Vincent's eye contact appeared to be above us rather than hitting the contact with the camera lens. And that did distract me a little this evening. So I'd like him to look at his camera angle when he looks back at his speech recording. Occasionally he has a tendency to look above us when he's telling the story. This is Digital Communicators. We're a club that deals heavily in visuals on the screen. And I would have loved some photographs of 1970s London, even if Vincent didn't want to show us a photograph of himself in the 1970s, but I would have loved to have seen it, wouldn't you, Toastmasters? So I would like to see some photos of 1970s London to accompany this story. There was Vincent, nibbling away on culture day by day, devouring the books of Graham Greene and Steinbeck, enjoying London. I'm glad we travelled with Vincent during this speech to his London. And I am looking forward to Vincent's next speech. Where will he take us next? We are a multicultural club. Handing back to General Evaluator Pamela.
Hi, thank you very much, Andrew. I really enjoyed that, the visual perspective of what it was like to be in London in the 70s. I was in Chicago, and there were a lot of places like that. So it really kind of was a journey home for me. Our next evaluator is Mikey. Mikey will be evaluating Mahfuzur and his speech, Sailing Home. Mikey?
Thank you so much, Pamela. Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I will be evaluating Mahfuzur. Mahfuzur, I thought the quiddity of the river of where you used to live was described really well. I almost felt like I was there. The subtle and chilled and kind approach to your speech really made us all move so much into your speech. You used wonderful hand gestures, nice pauses to your speech. Although I would really like to see more vocal variety. However, you use really nice vocal variety when you explained about active listening. When you were at this stage, you had this subtle, chilled approach to your voice, and we can almost fall into that. Well done for that. I thought you had a clear speech. It was articulate. You had a great smile. the thing that I think that you could improve on is using the space of your screen. Unlike my screen right now, you can see that it's quite small. Now I'm using my phone, and this is the reason why it's so small. But because you have such a nice big screen, I think you should use more of this by moving sideways, because this will become more appealing to an audience. I really enjoyed your speech. The ending was really good because you left the audience with questions. So it kind of makes the audience want to have a think about themselves. It was inspiring. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your evaluator for the evening, Professor. Well done, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mikey. We appreciate that. And visit us again, or even become a member. You're quite good. Our next evaluator is Ola, and he is here to evaluate Pamela's speech, Mistaken Identity. Ola?
Thank you so much, Pam, and fellow Toastmasters and guests. It is a great honor to evaluate Pam's speech. As you can all observe, the most important and interesting part of Pam's speech was the storytelling skills with a lot of humor. I could see everybody smiling and reflecting with what she was saying, with great reflection to the storytelling of descriptive influence. But Pam was with a serious look and focus, and that's something I'm also learning from her. I could be giving a speech with humor and still look so straight with a great smile. She was able to give us an insight into the relationship within this speech with an icebreaker, making us to know about her background, why she loves dogs, pets, and children. She gives an insight to different angles of the storytelling about what the speech was about, a sleeping pattern, as she can sleep in the bedroom, sleep while even after having coffee, which made us appreciate part of our background and our family relative activity. But instance, I would have loved to say to Pam, take some pauses in between so we, the audience, could digest the humor and appreciate the concept or the ideas you've shared in between the speech, which will have been very, very great. Having some vocal variety at some points will have had more pictorial voice effects to those instances you made reference to, talking about how you were sleep talking while walking on the stairs. I could even be sleeping while giving a speech. This will have made a great impact to the speech. I also love the fact that Pam was ready to end the speech on a great note, sharing 3 major points, saying, pause and think before you call 911. If someone looks like your husband, it could be your husband. Always wear your pajamas while going to bed. These are great ways to be able to end the speech, which Pam was able to deliver as a great note. However, I would have loved to have a more time management of the speech. We would have given her a chance to be able to have a ending strong point at the end of the speech. But overall, Pam, you got these great skills of public speaking. You got these great skills of storytelling, and you got this humor. I can't wait to listen to your next speech, whereby you'll be maximizing these potentials in delivering your next speech. Fellow Toastmasters, I can say Pam has fulfilled the objective of her speech, and she's a great potential for humorous competitions. Over to you, the Toastmaster of the day and General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it's time for my evaluation of the meeting. My evaluation is that this group are on their toes. They listen, they respond, they turn on their cameras and their microphones really, really quick. I think the person who really caught the ball and really could transition the fastest was Julian, when he was asked to do a shotgun review on someone, and he played back his tape and let us hear the reverberation that he was hearing and then pass the ball on to the next teammate. Now, we started the meeting with the sparkly, wonderful opening from our live reporter, Mar. And isn't she always bubbly? I mean, it just makes you are so happy to be here. And we had 3 great speeches with people who were present. And then we had our Toastmaster, our table topics, and our table topic master, she was just on it. She was just on it like a New York minute, wasn't she? I mean, then she had a little noisemaker she was playing. I really, really enjoyed it. And not only that, but once the person stopped speaking, she called on that person right away. And so we always have to be listening. And that is the quintessential quiddity of Toastmasters, listening and being on our toes. Wonderful meeting. And now back to Pat, the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much for your evaluation, Pamela. Articulate, eloquent, and quintessentially the quiddity of what is quintessentially Toastmasters. I want now to, before we finish, can we get the timer's report on the evaluations, please? Hazel? Are we going to stick those in the chat?
Yes, I have them. Actually, Andrew Bennett was 2 minutes 39, Sepp 2 minutes 16, Ola 2 minutes 45, and Pamela was 1 minute 26.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hazel. Now, I am honored to call on our grammarian for the grammarian report, which I think is going to be just sparkling. Ishrat.
Thank you, Pat. Well, I was in for a treat tonight. You ought to give yourself a great round of applause. You were amazing, all of you. Well done. So for a word that you've never heard before, that you've never come across before, you used it marvelously well. Vincent used it a number of times, I think 3 times, Andrew once, Pat 4, 5, 6 times, Marfuzor twice, Antonia once, Mar once.
Got 3 minutes, no?
Once.
1 minute.
And Pam once. Great done. Well done. Now I've picked up great things from tonight's session. So there were a lot of figures of speech, loads of rhetoric used throughout. There were triads. First, there were the names of authors: Graham Greene, Hemingway, Steinbeck. Horrible, stinking, horrible. I got friends. I went to the pub. I became a part of the English community. The power of 3 were present throughout your speeches. There were a few figures of speech that were used. In Vincent's speech, there was an oxymoron where he said, comfortable misery. So an oxymoron is a figure of speech in which contradictory terms appear in conjunction. There were uses of anaphora. Anaphora is a rhetorical device that consists of repeating a sequence of words at the beginning of clauses. For instance, silently crying, silently screaming. The silently screaming, there's also the alliteration of the sound S. There was any time, place, anywhere. And in contrary of anaphora, there's epiphora, where the repeating words is at the clause's end. So if I'm horizontal, I sleep. If it's dark, I sleep. I forgot that part, I sleep. So you can hear the repetition there, which gives a lot of substance to the speech. What else? Beautiful words that were used, especially adjectives, very descriptive adjectives that painted a very vivid picture. The green emerald island. It wasn't green. It wasn't just emerald. It was green emerald island. Massive and huge city, vibrant, golden opportunity. Flood was very dingy. Dingy, a word I've never heard before, which means dirty. Prepositions that were used correctly. Let's see. Where's my for prepositions? I've got I've got notes written everywhere. Okay. To be rubbing shoulders with. I flew down the stairs. I gave the floor to start us off, which I was nibbling on day to day. Now, another beautiful word that was used was raconteur, French root, and raconteur, which means a person who tells anecdotes in a very skillful and amusing way. There was also nursing his loneliness, and opportunity knocked on your door. These are two examples of personification. Opportunity doesn't literally knock, nor can you nurse your loneliness. I loved two very beautiful proverbs, or, well, I would say proverbs. Sleep on a washing line, or rather sleep on a clothesline, which is a very fancy metaphorical way of saying one is extremely sleepy. There for you, Pam. I'm as sleepy as you are. A helicopter could burst on my head. I wouldn't hear it when I'm sleeping. If you have it, flaunt it. I've picked up only a few mistakes. Time wait for no one when it should be time waits for no one. Gonna. I would rather hear you say going to instead of gonna, which is a very familiar way of saying going to. Me and my sister, I'd rather hear my sister and I. And Mike helped me managing my conversation. I'd rather hear Mike helped me manage my conversation. And lastly, I heard quintessential liquidity. It is a pleonasm because both quintessential and quiddity mean the same thing, which is the very essence of something or someone. Here is my report.
Thank you, Ishrat. We have just been treated to a masterclass in grammatical construction, in the use of language, and in the various forms of rhetoric that one should watch this tape over and over. I am now going to say thank you to everybody for a fantastic meeting. I think we are done. We've had general evaluation, and I'm going to pass you back to our presiding officer, Vincent Neary. Vincent.
What a fantastic night. Unforgettable. And I would like to ask you folks, those who have been visiting us today, first of all, switch on your camera so we can have a peek at you and see what you do. Antonia, did you like the show tonight? I can see that you always put the word of the day or the message of the day into your digital background, which I think is wonderful.
Yes, thanks, Vincent. I love the session today. I enjoyed it every minute. I'm always learning something new. And I also had the opportunity to speak a bit. Thank you for that. And I'm looking forward to visit you again.
All right. Thank you. Andy, how did you like our show today?
Yes, I thought some of the speeches were excellent. There are lots of things to learn here, as I always say. I've learned things, grammar, for example, very interesting, and I've really enjoyed it again. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Panos, you have been a regular visitor participating in the meetings. Did you enjoy the meeting as well?
You can be sure that I did enjoy the meeting, and one of the success factors here, and again, I'm all for stealing genius. If there's anything that deserves to be stolen, that is genius ideas and genius uses of language. One of the success factors is that you bring different colors to your speaking, to your topics. We had humor, we had seriousness, we had everything, and that's how we appreciate colors. If you think of it, when we see them all together, then they stand out. And I think that you have a very, very interesting mix of colorful personalities and backgrounds in this group. And I find this intriguing. And I mean this as a compliment. Feeling intrigued by a group of people is a major, major compliment. So you will be seeing more of me. Yes. Thank you. Back to you, Vincent.
Thank you. My time is running out because the meeting has to close. We shall be meeting again on the 10th of May. And I would really recommend you to join our club, become a member, immerse yourself in our group. We want to learn from you and you want to learn from us. We will now move you to breakout rooms with the different speakers so we can mingle, and also there you will have the possibility to give some information of how you felt the speeches were conducted. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
If you cannot get access to any breakout room, let me know and I will put you in one.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Donna.
Antonia, I send you to a breakout room. I don't know if you have seen the invitation.
Yes, it's possible to go to the breakout room of the, what's the name? The one that is for the potential members.
Okay, you can stay here. Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
We don't have so many new members, so they are in other rooms. Yeah, tell me, what do you want to know?
Okay, then I don't have to join then.